Mountain Bike Mania is brought to you by KHS Bicycles, a full line of bicycles sold in 30 countries. Jensen USA, America's #1 online retailer of bikes and accessories, ODI, the world leader in grip technology, and Angel Fire Bike Park, the top-rated bike park in the Southwest. Hello and welcome to another episode of Mountain Bike Mania, coming to you again from Port Angeles, Washington. I'm your host, Samantha McDonald. We're here for the second leg of the 7-race Northwest Cup. Race 1 had it all. Record times, gnarly crashes, and tough international competition. Here's Ross with a recap and a course preview for today's race.
Thanks, Sammy. There's definitely no shortage of excitement in race 1.
In the last episode, we saw riders push past the limits for the opening race of the season. Defending champion Kevin Aiello hit a log, ruining his run, while Connor Fearon, all the way from Australia, stomped the course and took down the win. Charlie Harrison won the junior expert category, and Jill Kintner the pro women's.
Mikey, come on, get in there, boy! Your bike sounds like a shopping cart!
Local rider Luke Strobel took home the Northwest Cup title last year. This year in race 1, he placed third. The big question is, will he be able to defend his title this year? But before we get to the pros, let's take a look at the junior expert riders. Ross and Maggie Hatterer have the call.
We're back here at Dry Hill for race number 2, but it's a different course. Let's go to our course preview, brought to you by Jensen USA. Check out the qualifying segment brought to you by KHS Bicycles.
You're like 10 seconds back. I cracked. Hey, you cracked. Good job you can find wearing a dress and sandals. I like it. Is it kind of crazy over there right now? There's some weird stuff.
We're here with Luke Strobel. He's #1 right now after the qualifying round. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel about your time today?
Yeah, I felt good. I was kind of surprised. I mean, the track's a lot different than the first race here, and it's just all about carrying the speed out of corners, so I just tried to do that the best I could, and worked out to be pretty good.
Let's take a look at our schedule for the Northwest Cup this year. We're in Port Angeles for the first 2, Mount Hood for the next 2, over to Stevens Pass, and then Idaho, and then back to Stevens Pass. Let's take a look at our start list for the junior experts. We've got 8 Canadians in the top, followed by 2 Americans. I'll turn it over to Mikey.
All right, stop number 2, NWCup here at Dry Hill. We're going to start things off with our junior category. This is Simon Tellier, number 6 qualifier today. One of the BC contingent making his way down across the border.
He was getting pretty wild in practice. Let's see if he can keep it all together for his race run here.
That seems to be the big question with a lot of our juniors out there. A lot of them made it with rubber bones and kind of fearless on track. But this track, especially at Dry Hill, King Diamond, one of those that has some big features on it, like this hip and a few really fun steep sections. So
He's looking pretty quick, so.
And right now he's up at the first split
wow.
by almost 2.5 seconds. That's a
pretty crazy.
Big margin for only about halfway through this track. Although the bottom does get a little slower speed, a little bit more technical, and so we'll see some of those times be pulled back by riders with a little more skill. A little slow through that section there, Ross.
He's definitely one of the better riders out of BC, though, riding on that black track.
Into the last corner, let's see what the time pops up.
2:47.81. That'll put him in first for now.
That's right. All right. Next rider we should be seeing, this looks like Nick Rogers, one of the taller juniors out there.
He's one on those NS bikes. They're pretty colorful, bright green, matching his kit.
Downhill bikes out of a country that doesn't have any hills. I think they're made in Poland.
Oh, they've got one of the crazy free riders, Jaws, and he's always sending his meat
Yep,
off
yep.
the cliffs.
Yep, Sam Pilgrim, the pirate.
Oh, he looked a little better there. He's flying a little farther and straighter.
Yep, definitely keeping it low, keeping it fast here through, real close on the split though, only about 0.3 down.
So he's back.
Definitely within reach. Again, the lower part of this track, a little bit more technical. Looks like it's got a little bit more moisture in it compared to the top wide open bits.
Looks pretty rough. You can see those bikes working hard.
Yep, into these last few corners.
Oh, here he comes. Check it out. He's putting down the pedals.
Last corner to the line. Nick Rogers, 2:49.11. Not going to be enough, though.
It'll put him right behind Simon. I guess Simon's little crazy style will keep him in front for a bit. Next up, who do we have? Is it Daniel Shaw?
Looks like it is. Number 3 qualifier today.
North Vancouver, British Columbia. Out of the gate.
Now this track, a little bit different from the track that was raced a few weeks back for the first Pro GRT in the first NWCup. A bit steeper, a lot more jumps, and then the bottom actually a fair bit more technical.
Yeah, we start with the road gap. This section's pretty crazy. I'm not sure if we showed it earlier in the show, but someone, Bob Stinson, slammed into a tree right there.
Yeah, recovering from a previous shoulder injury too, it was not the best idea for him to be checking the density of the Northwest Redwoods.
Oh, he's pretty close there.
Only 0.2 back. I think that's the second fastest split we've seen so
But
far.
he railed that corner. Let's see if he can reel it in the
Holds
last
it
little
together
bit.
through the bottom. Looks like he had a little bit of a bobble exiting that section though. Choosing to go inside to inside. Looks like it might have hurt his exit speed a little right there. Again, into these last few corners, seeing riders snapping pedals.
Flying through there.
Almost blowing the turn. There's actually a pretty loose rock face right there in the end of that berm.
Daniel Shaw going into first. Nice.
Nicely done. 2:47.49. Your new fastest time in our junior category.
So he definitely reeled him in a little bit. Sky races World Cups all the time. Magnus Manson, one of the best juniors in the world right now.
Riding on that NWCup factory program. Got some good teachers under.
Not even landing, he's pedaling.
Taking a page out of his teammate, Sam Blankensop, man known for pedaling everywhere.
Wow.
Looking so fast through that top section. Magnus, again, one of our larger juniors, carrying so much momentum.
He wrecked at the Pro GRT. I mean, he goes as fast as he can. He's lucky he's wearing a neck brace.
And he's crushing the first split. 3.17 seconds
That's his foot,
up.
but with 3 seconds up, I think he'll be fine. Jeez.
He's got a lot of time to play with, but riders not actually knowing their times on hill. No one there to give them splits or anything like that. They have to put down the fastest run they think they can.
They have to listen to all the hecklers saying, he's right behind you.
Hecklers are first class here at Dry Hill.
Let's check out his
Magnus
time.
across the line.
He's in first by
2:42.54.
It's like 5 seconds right there.
That is a solid lead. Put another 2 seconds
That's
in after
insane.
the split.
We'll see how he compares to the pros. That was wild, though.
Number 1 qualifier, Henry Fitzgerald, last man down in his category.
Steve Pete Syndicate, here he goes.
Dropping into King Diamond. Couple turns into the road gap, just catching the landing there. In through these first
On the
turns.
pedals. It's a little flat, but
It turns down the steep side of the hill very quickly.
that's the steepest part. I mean, it's just wide open.
Lots of little natural doubles. Huge hip here,
Oh,
staying
he keeps
low.
it super low. Wow, he's a big dude, too.
Using those
See where he's
extra
at
long
the
legs to
split.
his advantage.
Oh, he's down a little bit.
Just
see if he can.
Oh, disaster!
Oh,
Just as we were saying, within reach, 0.8 of a second down, he throws it away in the corner right after the split.
He only lost a little bit of time, given he's 0.8 back, but
he's got a fair bit to make up on Magnus, though. He put another 2 seconds into every other rider in the bottom of this track.
So we'll see. I mean, he has 5 seconds until third place. Let's see if he can fit in between Magnus and Daniel Shaw.
He's gonna have to keep laying down those pedals hard, coming through to the line.
That's so hard mentally.
And he crosses 2:46.89.
Nice.
Does just what you said, slotted himself right into second with a crash. Gotta be a bit heartbreaking, though.
At least he didn't get hurt and got right back up. And, I mean, second, that's pretty impressive.
Just a little bit overcooked, maybe a little bit too much brake, and caught one of those slick northwest routes, and that did him in. That'll do it for our juniors.
We just saw some exciting riding from our junior experts. Our top seed, Henry Fitzgerald, crashed, added a few seconds to his time, coming in at second today. Magnus Manson, on the other hand, had a very smooth ride and took home the win. Let's go back to Ross and Mikey for our pro men.
Here's our start list for the pro men. Good mix of Americans and Canadians. We've got local Luke Strobel in the first place with Bryce Sterling from Canada, and then Charlie Sponsel, top 3. All right, you got Weston Potter. He comes from a moto background. Everyone's been saying he's just getting comfortable on the downhill bike, and he's just wide open through some of these sections. Let's take a look.
Yeah, this is since this is only a Northwest Cup and not a Pro GRT, there's going to be a few names that we don't see as often at the full national rounds. A lot of fast Northwest guys, though, really used to this terrain.
Boosting out of there. That's where Bob crashed.
That was definitely a high-speed section. Weston showing some of that moto background, though. Really smooth over that hip.
He's just, I mean, just like Bob, he took that gap and ended up flying.
Wow, a full 2 seconds up at the split.
That is insane.
That is a big gap in our pro men's category.
You think he has a motor in there, huh?
Some would argue, I'm sure.
The new crew.
Seems to be getting pretty good line choice, though. Looks like he might be riding with a couple of the locals, getting close to the locals line, one would say. In through the last corner, inside, drifting it out, though. His time.
That'll put him in first. Wow, almost 4 seconds.
Putting 4 seconds into Russell Dale, and that is only our number 13 qualifier, I believe.
That's a big gap, though, already.
In our pro men's field, that is quite a large gap. 4 seconds is usually the difference of about 30 to 40 places at a World Cup.
Well, here's Alec Watts. We're in that Fox gear. And
out of Camas, Washington.
We covered an enduro there last year. There's a lot of good riding, a lot of elevation. Flying through that Chundry section.
Just across the river from Hood River, Oregon. Lots of good trail riding out there as well.
It's a quick section.
Very similar terrain, actually, to what we've got here at Dry Hill.
Oh, no motor in his bike, man.
No, he's down about 2.3 at split number 1.
Wow, he's
railed
railed
that corner, though, almost doing a bar drag. Coming in to the tech section.
See if he can make up some time. That was, I mean, he looked
getting
quick.
A little bumpy, though. Looks like he's just fighting the bike a little bit.
Every route, tap, tap, tap.
Yeah, hitting every hole, and every one of those holes is going to slow down your bike just a little bit, take away a little bit of your momentum.
Over
the line. Into third, though. Made up a little bit of time in that bottom section. 2:45.87. Weston's still comfortably out front, though, 4 seconds up.
Thanks. Kevin Littlefield, one of the better pros out of Washington.
Still a very young pro, long-time racer out of the Northwest, kind of riding with all the legends up in that area. Rode a lot with Luke Strobel. Oh, gapping into the corner.
I know Luke's going to do that, too. They're definitely sharing lines or something.
Yeah, definitely ride a lot together out at Tiger Mountain. He was actually traveling a lot with Charlie Sponsel as well this year on the Gravity program.
Is that a 26-inch wheel bike there?
No, I think he's on the new 2015 demo. That's going to be the 27 wheel. Not too far off pace, though. 0.8 back on Weston at split number 1. Another really tight turn through that
really pumping
section.
The terrain, though, getting every little bit out of it.
Yep. Now we'll see how he fares into this. Gapping over the roots, making sure those things aren't going to slow him down into these last couple corners.
Still on the pedals.
And ETing through the air over that last jump, sprinting super hard into that last corner. Little power wheelie across the line, and did he make it up?
Nope.
Not quite enough. Looks like
Wow.
Weston had a killer run at
Still
the bottom
3
there.
seconds. That's such a sweet little gap into that turn. We got Trevor through all the way from Duncan, British Columbia.
Another one of our BC contingent comes down for the Northwest Cups.
Is he on one of those NS bikes as well, or?
Not sure. We'll see as he goes past into this first corner. Opting not to take that jump line, though.
They're very greened out. Is it Dunbar Cycles, I
I
believe?
believe he is one of the Dunbar riders.
He's one of the better,
big
yeah.
fan of the fluorescent gear.
They always have some really good riders, really good free riders too. So he must train with Casey Dean, or Dean Tennant.
Dean Tennant,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a racer and free ride guy. Kind of a lot of them. Oh, he's
Oh,
a
he's
fair
on
bit down
transition,
at the split though.
3
125.61, split number 1. Rocking that lucky number 13. That may have something to do with this run, depending on how we see him finish. Holding it together though.
That's a good line.
Nice little high line to set up for that corner.
Yep.
Holding a lot of speed into that turn, pedaling hard out.
He's getting pretty wild. Just
Definitely a little looser than we've seen some of our pro men.
dancing all over the place. Pedaling through the finish line. 4th.
Into 4th, 245.66. Only a tenth of a second off Russell Dale.
That's
So,
close in the middle right there.
yeah, it's going to be a tight battle for a podium spot right now.
We got Kent Billingsley all the way from Montana. You know, he's a pretty wild rider.
Definitely looking to get some of those early season bugs out here. Port Angeles number 2. I'm sure where he's from is still fairly deep covered in snow.
Ski season to bike season.
I'm a big fan of this
Wow.
guy's socks, though. If anybody else can see
America.
those. Full-on American flag socks. That's taking a page out of my old 2008 brace book. Sending that
Dang,
hip
that was
almost
nice.
to flat.
He's got some style pedaling everywhere, and
Only 1.6 down. That's about third fastest
the-
split
yeah,
we've
that's-
seen today. Oh, and he throws it away. That turn. we've
committed
seen
too hard.
So many riders just having to really, really commit into that turn and force the
man.
bike down. And he just goes a little bit early, losing
Well,
that
he
tire.
recovered pretty quickly, so maybe that's only a second or two. Oh, and he
Ooh,
tagged the tree. What?
Tagged a root and got away with that. That was almost disaster.
Back on the pedals in the air.
He's gonna try and fight for some glory out of that. He knows that's not gonna be a winning run though. Pretty disappointed. Nope, he is not gonna make it out right there.
From somewhere off the pace, but we got Matt Orlando. He's also pretty wild on a bike, qualified 5th. Let's see if he can maintain his composure. He's one of the more wild riders for sure. Just keep your eye on him.
Setting up wide for that turn, riding flat pedals too, so he tends to really charge into sections a little harder than most, but being a bigger rider, he can sometimes get away with it.
Just let the bike slam into stuff.
Definitely making that transition work for him.
Wow.
Setting up real high on the landing of that hip.
Sliding into the next turn. These shots are
Pedaling
right after
into this
each other.
corner, and he's
up.
Wow, he is up by
He's on
a
a
fair
flyer.
margin, 1.34 seconds.
Oh, he
no.
almost takes out a camera guy.
Flat pedals.
Oh, but he
He
that's
got
probably
back on, only lost maybe a few tenths of a second of momentum. We'll see if that really is going to hurt him. He had a 1.3 to play with at split number 1.
That's crazy to watch. We had him in an enduro
Oh
coverage last year.
no, looks
Did
like he
crash
just went
again?
down again.
Oh,
Just
my God.
outside of you, just before the last couple turns.
That's going to be a little disappointing for him, but he doesn't look like he's too far off the pace.
He's going to be pretty disappointed with that run as well.
Put him in 10.
What could have been.
245.
And there we see just what happened, losing a foot just into that pre-jump section and having to ride it out barely on his saddle. Next up, this looks like Jake Grob, Washington local. Pretty new guy on the circuit, but not new to bike riding.
He's
Rides up
fast.
at Tiger Mountain with Strobel and Lars Sternberg and a lot of the other really fast Northwest riders. Just really showing his stuff here on the race circuit, though.
Oh,
Super
bouncing out of that.
smooth through that section, bouncing over all the holes.
Should call it the Bob segment. Jeez.
And we call it the bobsled slam run. Here we go. Still the fastest split.
Oh, a little back.
A little bit down. I believe that's second fastest though.
But
so
Matt
far.
crashed a bunch, so I mean, to finish first, you got to
First
finish.
finish.
So.
That's true.
Let's see if
Jake.
Jake can hold it together.
Making that bike really, really smooth. Just kind of missing all the holes, pumping every little
He's
bump
a-
he can.
He's a pretty lightweight rider. He can just float over a bunch of stuff.
choosing not to pedal out of that last corner, maybe saving a little bit, ETing through that for this finish sprint. Into the last corner, putting it down
Over
hard.
the line. That'll put him above Weston Potter. Wow.
New leader,
Just a little bit.
241.69. That means he made up a fair bit of time in that bottom section.
Yeah.
Weston had a big gap from that first split to the finish.
Let's take a look at our Athlete of the Week, presented by Angel Fire Bike Park.
Charlie, last year was the first year that you were able to make mountain biking your full-time job, and you won one of the Northwest Cup races. Tell us about how big that year was for you.
Yeah, I won the Stevens Pass Northwest Cup round. That was really exciting. That was towards the end of the year, and I carried that momentum on to win a few other enduro races, get second place at a Port Angeles Northwest Cup, and I just kept riding hard all winter long, and I've started out, I'd say, stronger than I ever have at the beginning of a season.
How did you manage to turn it up a notch last year and make it your full-time job?
It's not a popular answer, but enduro racing has actually been huge for my downhill racing, but mostly because it's trained a completely different skill set for me, and I'm focusing on things that are more important for race runs, whereas I used to focus on the one rock garden and the downhill course. And that's probably 5% of the course, and I wouldn't turn my attention to the other 95%. And so learning to carry speed and learning to pedal really hard is it's pretty important for downhill racing.
What are your goals for the Northwest Cup this year, since you already won a race last year?
Every race, every Northwest Cup I go to, I want to be winning. I want to be on the top of the box, and if I'm not on the box, I'm pretty frustrated.
So you're not only a pro biker, but you're also a community activist. And tell us about what you've been working on this past year for your community in Portland.
Well, there's this great riding area in the city of Portland called Riverview Natural Area. It actually wasn't Riverview Natural Area before the city bought it. It was just old cemetery land owned by the Riverview Cemetery. City bought the land, mountain bikers had lots of meetings with them. There was this expectation that we would be included in talks, we'd have a seat at the table. And then randomly out of nowhere, the city decided to ban mountain bikers from that area in the middle of a long public process to determine land use. So it was a huge act of bad faith on the part of the city, and myself and all of the other mountain bikers in Portland were pretty upset, so we organized a big protest ride. We had 360 people come out, which is just huge. I think we're winning the war, but there's a lot of battles that still have to be done, so I think there's a lot more work. And you'll see, if I make it on the podium, I always bring out my podium sombrero.
Oh, here's one of our local favorites, Charlie Sponsel.
Out of just outside Portland, Oregon. Last year, a bit more of an enduro rider. This year, really trying to make sure he's known on the Northwest downhill circuit.
He won Mount Hood last year, I believe. Or was it Stevens Pass? But either way, he knows what he's doing on a downhill bike. New downhill bike this year on the Santa Cruz. Flying through that section, that's crazy.
Charlie, probably one of our tallest riders in our pro men's field, and he can make some of the roughest sections look like a parking lot just by using his legs.
He's 6'3". Let's see where he's at the split.
Really
Pretty
carrying
close.
his momentum. 0.22 back, but only coasting into that whole section. We're seeing
And
a lot
Matt
of riders
was
pedaling.
off the bike right here, so, and Charlie kept it smooth, so I mean that'll make definitely a big difference.
Absolutely. Into the root section, setting up real high, lifting that rear wheel up over the roots so he doesn't slide on him. Into the last corner,
But there, no pedal either.
taking a big pump, using those big long legs.
Now he's pedaling again. There you go.
Into the last corner, a little inside.
Check it out. Go.
Time
in
is
the
new
first.
leader, 2:39.56.
Wow.
For
2
Chaz.
seconds. That's crazy. He must have pulled a lot back on the bottom half.
Very close, very, very close.
Second qualifier, Bryce Sterling from British Columbia.
Dropping into this very first turn. Couple little step downs, and we got a nice little road gap.
There's a lot of free riding where he's at, is that right?
I believe so. If he's in Nanaimo, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually also where Stevie Smith is from, and so there's a
Oh,
lot of good
racing,
downhill
yeah.
downhill trails. Not so much racing,
Well,
but
you know,
very
it'll
good
prepare you
training
for
trails.
racing, yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Into this,
That looked fast, huh?
almost pre-jumping it with that nose just skipping the top of the lip.
Rolling into this corner. This play, he's back a little bit.
Not too far though. I think that's the third or fourth fastest split of the day. Really committing to that turn, actually taking a pedal out we haven't seen from a lot of riders
In the rocks?
into the roots and rocks.
What a wild rider.
Set up high, just like Charlie's line. Keep his exit speed tight.
Let's see if he can
Really
catch
fast
Sponsel.
through that last turn. Into the finish line
More
straightaway.
pedaling. In the air. Over the line, let's see. Oh, right behind Sponsel.
Second place, 2:41.30.
Wow. Charlie definitely made up some time in the bottom half. That was
Only 0.2 off Mr. Jake Grob.
And of course,
Our number one qualifier, favorite of the weekend, Evil Bikes, Luke Strobel.
Issaquah, Washington. He knows every inch of this track. I think Charlie said he watched the footage from our coverage for qualifying and saw Luke was pumping every little bit and getting every bit of energy out. Wow, just like that.
Jumping into the turn, using every little bowl as a place to gain speed. Also, one of the only riders still out here on 26-inch wheels.
He's
Almost.
saying some of these tight, awkward corners on this track will, I mean, I don't know how much validity there is to the smaller wheels, but he seemed to think it would definitely help him get through stuff like this.
Wow, almost a full second up right now on
Only person under
fastest
120.
split.
That's insane.
Gapping in and out of that section without having to pedal. That's one of the only times we've seen that all day.
He's so dynamic on the bike. I don't think he's going to go down. He knows every little bit of this. It's just
Taking
incredible
that
to
extra
watch.
pedal.
Nice little whip for the cameras.
Scrubbing down into the finish. Flat pedals pedaling hard.
Over the line.
Oh, waiting for it. Oh!
What? 3 seconds? 3.2.
2:36.35, 3.2 seconds. Your winner, Luke Strobel.
Totally been strobelized. Well, that'll do it.
That is going to do it for your pro men here. Port Angeles #2, NWCup.
This is pretty exciting, huh, Mikey?
Definitely, definitely. Hats off to all the riders and Luke for taking home the win.
There's your pros!
What was the most challenging part of the race today?
Yeah, just trying to, because it was super fast and it was getting kind of blown out, so just trying to put together a smooth run and just nail all my lines and, yeah, not get too excited, you know?
Well, congratulations. Now you can get excited.
Yeah, thank you very much.
A great day of racing here at Dry Hill in Port Angeles, Washington. We have a new leader in the Northwest Cup standings, Luke Strobel. Let's see if he can hold off the competition in the next race in the series. That's all for this edition of Mountain Bike Mania. Remember, you can see more footage on our website, mtbmania.net, and on our Instagram, mtbmaniatv.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do a mix.
I think you.
Mountain Bike Mania has been brought to you by KHS Bicycles, a full line of bicycles sold in 30 countries. Jensen USA, America's #1 online retailer of bikes and accessories. ODI, the world leader in grip technology. And Angel Fire Bike Park, the top-rated bike park in the Southwest.